Monday Night Skippys is a series that has stood the test of time. Here at RaceSpotTV and iRacing, the Monday Night Skip Barber Racing School series from the UK&I Club has been around almost as long as iRacing itself. The series, well, it's an institution at this point, and well, we're here at Okayama, one of the service's oldest tracks, and one of the most familiar to these drivers. Hello, I'm Rachel Wyver, joined today by Linus Brostrom, and we are going straight to your driver's grid. We do apologise for a slightly late start. We've had some technical issues tonight, but we're kicking things off with a bang as always. And coming off his win last season, a championship for the second time in a row, Bill Fraser tops your qualifying order with Fehim Antonides, last week's winner, just behind him in second place. Stuart Adcock in third, Clark Williams and Adrian Hendy in fifth place, a new name up there. Dave Kirkman, Simon Edwards, Daniel J. Cook, Ben Daniels and Mark Turner, your top 10, with Simon Askew, Jack Hobbs, Daryl Taylor, Matt Cox, Sarah Savage in 15th place, Seymour Harding, Ryan Torpedo Hewitt in 17th, Peter Cowan in 18th place, Paul Thurston and Simon Maltby, your top 20, and Linus, Okayama Short is where we're at today. It's 25 laps around this very truncated Japanese circuit. What are your thoughts about this place?
It's a very short track. It reminds us a bit of a flatter Brands Hatch, not as much speed, a few hairpins, and a lot of places to overtake. So it's going to be a very good race. And with how tight the qualifying has been, with almost the top 30 cars being within a second, I expect this race to be pretty exciting all the way through.
Certainly is, of course, and it's funny you mentioned Brands Hatch. That's where we ended last season, and where Bill Fraser took his second championship of his career. And they were back-to-back championships. And of course, here tonight we have mentioned, as Lena said, 40 drivers lined up ready to go tonight, and the timing is close. You know what? The Brands Hatch comparison in this is very fair, because both tracks are, well, especially the Indy layout for Brands, both short tracks, both very twisty, both very technical circuits, and ones these drivers excel at. So tonight should be a fantastic race.
Yeah, it really should, and a massive grid for such a small track as well, but I think it's going to spread out and we're going to have action all the way over the track, so it's going to be really hard to keep track of everything, but a few familiar faces at the front, so that's probably where most of the action is going to be.
Certainly is, and you know what? We will keep our eyes on everything for you tonight as always. We're used to this in Monday Night Skippys and RaceSpotTV. This is what we do, and the Skippy series is honestly one of our favourites. It's been my longest running series, and I've honestly loved every moment of it. This series never fails to surprise me, and seeing new drivers come up and through the field is one of the best parts of this. This might be sim racing, but it is club motorsports at its heart. These drivers treat it the same way. There is honesty, there is respect, and there is driver talent in this series. You get to see all of those tonight and for the rest of this new season. Bill Fraser defends his second championship tonight. Who, in 12 weeks' time, will be the next champion? Will it be Bill? Or will there be a new name atop the board? We'll have to find out very soon, of course. Bill Fraser on the pole tonight with Antonides beside him. Antonides, of course, there has the inside line into turn one. Can he have the advantage, though, running into that tight corner? The engines start to rev to start off this season. And the first round starts now. Good start by Fraser as in comes Stuart Adcock, pulling back to the inside. Good qualifying by him up into third. Antonides has got a nose at the inside. He goes for it early. I thought he might try with that early inside start. Fraser held wide and Adcock takes advantage too. Not a great start for the defending champion. He's trapped to the outside there of the line with nowhere really to go. Didn't pull across early to defend that position. Has dropped back to third in a matter of corners, Linus. As we're already approaching, or past the halfway point of this lap, and back up the inside movement just behind him in top 5 there, as I believe that was Kirkman making a move. Antonides leads the way with Stuart Adcock in second place, Bill Fraser third. Edwards also making moves right now. He's about to try and make a move there on the number 35 of Dave Kirkman. As a bit of a bottleneck happens behind him. Edwards has to pull in, jump start.
I believe that was a jump start from Edwards. Don't see any contact being made anywhere, but we've got a 3 wide going down the home straightaway now for about 10th place.
And bump drafting by the cars in the middle there as the likes of Daniels, Turner, Askew, of course, and Hobbs involved in that one. A bit of congestion in the final corner led to that.
And someone just went straight off.
They did indeed. We'll have to find out who that was. It was Mark Turner. as right now we're back onto lap number 2 already. This one flying past us super fast. He's pulled off the track as well. Adrian Houndy is up to 5th place from where he started, of course. Ryan Hewitt has had a problem. Ryan the Torpedo Hewitt with issues. 16 car of Hewitt. And this was up in turn 1 as Hewitt comes wide and just gets... Oh, he's caught with a sandwich there between Paul Thurston and Simon Maltby there. Maltby, of course, on the inside. Thurston in the middle, replay showing you what happened there. He gets hit and pushed wide, not his fault at all. Turns in front of traffic and contact made. Innocent victim there, of course, as Bill Fraser back on your cameras here, and he's coming down the front stretch, trying to get back to where he started, Linus. Back at the front, he's still in 3rd place at Clark Williams, attacking like he did towards the end of last season. Different Clark Williams perhaps we're seeing tonight. He is pushing much harder. Bill Fraser, though, what's happened in 2 weeks?
I don't know, he had a very unfortunate start. They're starting on the outside, not really defending. He's keeping up with the front 2, and like you said, Clark Williams behind him, but these front 4 has pulled a little bit of a gap, and it doesn't look like they're willing to fight too much just yet. Maybe they want to get a gap to the rest of the cars before they start battling down here, as we see them almost going side by side behind him for P5, but they'll stay single file for now.
Certainly is, of course, and Antonides leading the way here. He narrowly missed out last season. This time could be his chance to show his teammates at Thrustmaster Bavano what he can do on the racetrack. He tried last season, wasn't quite close enough, but this could be the time for him. P8 at the moment, of course, is Sarah Savage. She's come up from 15th place. Big movement for her. Huge movement through the field, in fact, as she's now up 7 spots from where she started, Linus. Jack Hobbs up from 12th into 9th place as well. Other big movers we're looking at. Anthony Katz, 21st to 14th. And we have got Keith Sharp, 30th to 20th. But on this small circuit, big movement is one of those things you could expect to an extent. And these guys are making short work of the traffic.
Yeah, some people just don't hold back at the start, and with it being this short of a track and so congested, you can make up a lot of places if you find the right line for the corners, and they have done exactly that. And Sarah Savage sitting in 8th, that's very good start from her. She's got Jack Hobbs right on her rear bumper, I was about to say, but under her rear wing, but she does look like she gets a better exit here, so she's probably going to be able to hold him off, or maybe not, as he gets the draft on halfway down straight away.
Absolutely can and will. She's doing her best to try and make movement here, as we're looking at Bill Fraser, who's gotten back past Stuart Adcock there, up into 2nd place, finding his wind again. Perhaps been a bit lazy on the racing for the last 2 weeks since season end, and he's now just about trying to find his legs again. A bit of a slow start for Fraser, but he's clawing it back. Gets back past the old campaigner and Stuart Adcock, a very experienced and talented race car driver there, who's very fast. And when we call you seasoned, Stuart, we're not calling you old, we're calling you experienced. As Antonides still leads the way. Clark Williams, last car in his 4-car group, Linus. They've broken away from the rest of the field by 3 seconds. It's Kirkman leading the rest in 5th place, with Adrian Hendy behind him. Good gap back to Ben Daniels. Sarah Savage, she's actually catching up to this group. She's just behind, I believe, a lapped car at the moment. She's going to be getting past him. And that's Hobbs actually got past Savage, so you can drop her back down into the 9th place there. Hers will be fighting that. They're about 3 seconds back from the 5th and 6th place cars. Bill Fraser right on the rear gearbox of Antonides at the front on lap number 6 here of 25. Where's it going tonight? It's so fast. Fahim leading the way yet again, maintaining lap after lap of consistent times here, Linus. This is something we see from him all the time. He's one of those drivers that you can't really push into a mistake anymore. That used to be the way with Fahim. He used to make errors every race and throw away chances at amazing results, but recently he has been one of the most consistent drivers we've seen. His last couple of laps have not varied more than 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, he's gained a lot of experience over the seasons, and you rarely see him making a mistake like now when he's in the lead. And Bill Fraser is getting the run on him down the straightaway. He's going to look to the outside. Fahim sticks to the very inside. Fraser drops out, and is he going to get around him? Oh, he turns in too early, and that's going to send him into the gravel. And it's going to cost him about 2 positions here as Adcock and Clark Williams come by.
Certainly is, and we've got some issues leading us on the racetrack. No, apparently we don't have issues on the racetrack. The issues with my brain as we get back to the racing at the front of the field here. And Antonides. Adcock has gotten back past, of course. Clark Williams there in third, like you mentioned. And that's one of those mistakes again. We've seen the real success from Bill Fraser here, Linus, over a number of races. He's one of those drivers that wins it or bins it. And he keeps making these little errors on the racetrack with these experienced drivers around him that he's just... We know he's fast, but he's just managing to be inconsistent enough to give them an advantage.
Yeah, he does make a few small mistakes, and this time it could have cost him. He recognises that Fahim is in there in time to turn left again, and luckily it doesn't send him into the wall. But he's fast, like you're saying, and he's already up to the rear of Clark Williams, fighting for position up here again.
We believe there's a car turned around on the racetrack. We're going to try and find out who that was for you. I believe that was a lap car that just went straight off. There was a Mr. Norris out there on the racetrack who's had some problems with his car, and that will put paid to any chances of gaining positions for him. Replay there for you on the screen as you see what happened there. Just not the right moment for him. Darren Norris there. He's now back on pit road.
At the end of the straightaways.
He does
probably got some suspension damage or something, just that does not look like the way this car should handle under braking.
No, that tends to be the case. These cars have very weak suspension, Linus, which does mean any contact can result in major damage. And with how tight this racetrack has been, Bill Fraser, by the way, back in the 4th spot, passes Clark Williams on the front stretch, cleanly before turn 1, secures third back from Williams. As Adcock closes in ever more on Antonides at the very front. We're going to have some very cool racing here in just a few moments' time. As nearly a mistake there from Antonides, pushes wide in the double apex that joins through to the short layout. Lap traffic up ahead of them starts to get a little thicker once they get past this next car in line. That is, in fact, Simon Maltby. We are going to apologise for the camera blur. We've had a little technical glitch at the moment. This is one of those things that happens at the start of the season. These things get ironed out fairly quickly, but we get ourselves back on track now. Everything should be fine and crystal clear, showing you the beautiful visages presented by Esteban Ballos. Track pack for gourmets, of course. You can get that too for your own broadcasts, or for your own viewing pleasure if you just like looking at iRacing's tracks. They are rather pretty in a lot of cases. Up front, Antonides holding off Adcock. Fraser goes to the inside on Adcock. Will he have a chance to make the move into 1? Or will he back out in time? Tried to look, held back, decided not to go for it just yet. Although has a bit of an overlap, a little bit of a look there with the veteran driver. Doesn't go for it just yet, but comes in very close and turns him! No. Oh my gosh! That was a big error on Bill Fraser's part, and Adcock, I know from experience, Linus, is going to be writing something salty for Bill in the race discussion there after that one. There's replay on board there with Stuart Adcock, as you'll see that one there. Just loses speed mid-corner, round he goes, saves it though and gets it onto the inside of the field there. Bill Fraser carries on through without really much loss of speed. Up into second now rather safely without Adcock in the way. Adcock is back running, he's behind Clark Williams, so he's still in touch here, Linus. Maybe this will put some fuel in his fire and he'll start getting going.
Yeah, as long as he didn't get any damage from that, I think he'll be good and he'll be right back up there battling with Fraser and Williams. And Antonides actually got a little bit of a gap here and is almost up to 1 second, so if he can just put his head down he might be able to pull away, but it looks like Bill Fraser gained some of that gap back already in turn number 1 after also coming up on lap traffic, and that could be what's going to stop Fahim Antonides from driving away with this victory.
It certainly could be. There's only one car right now in front of them, but with over half the race to go, there's plenty of time to catch more lap traffic, and it only gets thicker from here, which is going to pose the real problem when you start having to deal with multiple lap cars fighting for position. Fraser in a clear second place, closing that gap on Antonides. Clark Williams behind him. About a similar distance back, Linus, about 4 or 5 car lengths. He was very wide! Oh, big mistake there by Williams. We're going to replay what has happened for that one. Single car mistake, but he pushes wide in what is normally turn 7 on this racetrack. In this context, this is actually turn 4. Showing you there on the screen, he runs very wide, narrowly misses hitting the tyre barriers. Sashays back across the racetrack, just recovers it in time to stay ahead of Stuart Adcock there, just narrowly holding on. Maltby nearly getting in the way as they come past. Back live, we're back in turn number 2 here.
Back past Williams now, up into 3rd.
He has indeed. He's managed to force his way back past the green machine. And now Ben Daniels has gotten past Kirkman, we just heard, so he's moved himself up into the 5th spot. Finally proving himself up. Started 9th place tonight, Ben Daniels, so he's actually making his way forwards here, Linus, as he runs wide and Kirkman takes advantage of the inside, but Daniels, who now has the inside for the following corner, there's two switchback sections of 180 corners as they stay side by side here into the penultimate corner. Fast if you have the outside line, and this should be Kirkman's if he can hold the speed. Side by side yet again for the final corner. Now he clears him. Nice defensive driving there by Kirkman. Did exactly what he had to do, Linus. Kept patient, gave him room, and knew the longer line would give him more momentum.
Yeah, he definitely knew that was going to be the advantage for him, and he did not back out. He just held it out there and trusted Daniels to be able to hold his line on the inside, and this backed them out a little bit again from Adcock and Williams, which they had gained on actually, but they lost over a second on that lap thanks to going side by side. And Adrian Hendy, the driver, is sitting right behind these guys, waiting for him to make a mistake, trying to get involved, and good battle going.
Adrian Hendy playing the Clark Williams card normally of sitting in place and waiting for the accident to happen to reap the rewards of an easy victory, as Clark Williams himself actually getting stuck in here fighting with Adcock. Although admittedly when he got past Adcock it wasn't really Adcock's decision. That one of course we'll handle after the race, but as it stands, Antonides still leads away, having led every lap so far. 13 laps in the books of 25 tonight. Will be on 12 to go as we cross the line this time by. Just past halfway now. Bill Fraser, 2nd place. Current gap there, just 0.9 of a second between 1st and 2nd place. The gap has actually increased, so Antonides is pulling away here. This is definitely making a big difference, and Antonides showing real consistency as we talked about his laps earlier on. We look at them now again. He's actually gotten a little faster. His fastest lap of the race was lap number 6 with a 58.699. And he's actually been consistently within that sort of 2/10 bracket. We look at, that's Bill Fraser actually, I apologise. From Antonides, again, similar consistency. His fastest lap was actually slower than Bill though, a 58.861, so a bit of a difference in how those two are driving, and it just seems though Antonides, less variation, more consistency. Even though he isn't quite as quick, he's just taking advantage of the track.
Yeah, he just keeps on hitting his marks and not making any mistakes whatsoever, and Bill Fraser should be getting a little bit of draft down the straightaway here, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But on this lap he closed in about half a tenth again, but that is definitely not going to be enough since we've only got 11 laps to go.
Some interesting racing going on back in turns 1 and 2, although quickly we'll have a quick look at actually the number 1 of Anthony Catt up there with Matt Cox. The 866 car heading through turn number 2 right now. Peter Cowan gaining rapidly from behind. Darrell Taylor in the picture as well. Cowan just lost a step there in turn 3 as Catt and Cox are now fighting it out here. They were close. They were side by side, in fact, on the front stretch, as now the battle here for the last position in the top 10. Linus is going to be really fought hard for amongst these drivers. They're a couple of seconds back, 2 seconds in fact, from the likes of Savage, Hobbs and Hendy, which isn't that far out of touch, but at the moment they're all still fighting for that 1 spot. Taylor has come up from behind. He started in 13th. He's still there. Cowan 18th to 12th, 21st to 11th for Catt. So some movers in this group, and the speed variations are starting to show as we might have a chance here for Catt. Pulls it behind Matt Cox. Matt Cox goes defensive to the inside line. Wide goes Anthony Catt to turn 1. Can he carry the speed around the outside? Will it give him an advantage? Can he overshoot by turn 2 and 3, the double apex, or will the advantage stay in the hands of Matt Cox? There's a slight overlap, but it's not going to be enough to hold the position for the next 2 corners. Anthony Catt has to drop back in line here and just play the longer game as he gets an overlap again, coming out of 4 there. Again, rescinds that advantage, looks to the inside, looking for any chance, goes to the inside, dives it a little bit late there, Linus. A little bit of contact, in fact, between those two. Costs him time, but aggressive moves. He wants through badly.
Yeah, he really wants to go past here, and it's a good job by Cox to notice him there, otherwise they both could have gone out. And now, all of a sudden, all this has done is bring Cowan and Taylor back up to him, so now it's a big 4-car pack here, and this could go any way as we see Cox getting a little bit wide. That's going to give Catt the advantage down the straightaway, but he's a little bit too far behind, so he's not going to be able to make a move this time.
Certainly isn't. By the way, the gap is down between Bill Fraser and Antonides at the front. It's now down to just just over 7/10 of a second, although the gap back to third place Adcock is, at the moment, 2.8 seconds. So that is actually quite a large gap there back to third place Adcock. Williams is 2 seconds behind him, so he's lost a lot of time. In fact, here Ben Daniels and Dave Kirkman are catching him very rapidly. So it looks as though Clark Williams having some trouble at the moment. He's lost a huge amount of time. I don't see... Oh, there is a little bit of rear wing damage here. He's had a little bit of contact with somebody at some moment in this race, Linus. I don't think I can recall when that was, but he's definitely losing aero on that car, so it's costing him a lot of time. He may drop back to Kirkman and Daniels once they catch him. They are not too far behind.
No, he's doing his best to stay away here, but the gap is coming down every lap, and it's not really helping him. It's down to 2.6 seconds now, so he's gonna have to speed up a little bit, but it might just be enough if we got about 8 laps to go here, so it could be enough.
Absolutely not. And well, as things are going on, this is quite the fun first round for a new season. The drivers all out on track, desperate to make a show of things and show just what they can do here. The pack here with Cox, Cat, Cowan and Taylor for the last spot in your top 10, currently held by Matt Cox. And there's 3 guys who want that position off him at the moment. In fact, there's a few more behind that because Sewell Harding is coming on quickly. So is Simon Askew, Keith Sharp as well. Sharp up 15 places right now. 30th to 16th, that's 14 spots. I can't do maths apparently, but he's one of the biggest movers in our field so far. He's definitely come to that field with great aplomb, as Anthony Catt once again looking for an advantage over Matt Cox out of the final corner. Start finish line, will he go for the inside line this time? The outside isn't working for him so far. Can the Cat find an advantage? He tries to look to the outside yet again, and it's not going to help him. Cowan takes advantage, looks to the inside. Cowan not going to have time to make a move either, but the gap is definitely shrinking now as they're all fighting. Let's put some more closer together, which makes less room for error. Will the Cat lose one of his 9 lives here, trying to make another sketchy move on Matt Cox? Not sure he's too far back at this time, but Cowan might try and go for something. No, holds his position. The guy's looking very racy tonight, Linus. Everyone's blood seems to be up for this first round to try and prove some points before the season gets started proper.
Yeah, everyone wants to get in that top 10 right there, and sorry to break up from this, but Bill Fraser is right on the back and Fahim Antonidis at the front, now going into turn 1, and he's going to look to the outside. Is he going to be able to hold it? He gets the run off, and he's actually going to drop it a little bit, side by side. He gets in the gravel slightly. He's going to try and stick it around the outside of Fahim Antonidis through 2 and 3, but he's going to have to back out. Actually, oh, look at that!
Wheel slapping action at the front of the race here in Monday Night Skippys, round 1. These guys don't care. They're racing like it's round number 12 as wheel to wheel they go into the next corner. One wrong braking move there from Antonides could have resulted in Bill Fraser Mark Webbering over the top of his car. If anyone remembers that one from 2010 at Valencia in the Formula 1. That was front wheel to rear wheel in a braking zone. That could have been exactly the same right there, only Bill Fraser would be the first time the Scotsman was tossed, not the caber.
Fraser had a little bit of a hiccup there and dropped a bit turns, and he's just going to get some breathing room again, but looks like Bill Fraser has been a lot faster his last few laps, so we could get a battle here. And again in a couple of laps, as we got 5 laps to go.
We certainly could, in 5 laps that'll be hard fought in this race. These guys are going for everything they have. Adcock and Williams are spread up at the moment. They really haven't got much chance to take advantage. Daniels and Kirkman have also broken apart, although Kirkman's still with Hendy, doing what he can in the race. Hobbs just behind them. Sarah Savage dropped back. Cox still there with Cat, Cowan and Taylor. Cat still looking for an opportunity, trying to find a way through here. Linus, he's just not quite got the overlap in terms of speed. He keeps looking for opportunities, but never quite finds the right way through here. He seems to be just edging in the braking zones. He's going deep rather than actually having a speed advantage, and that the late braking he's actually demonstrating, I think is making him think he's actually a little quicker than he is.
Yeah, he keeps trying to make moves, but he just can't get there for some reason, and I don't really know why, but he just needs to get to run off the corner here and get a little bit of an overlap going into 1, and this time it looks like he might actually do it. But Cox does really well here blocking the inside, so Cat has to go to the outside, and unfortunately for Cat, he just can't really hold it around there. Oh, and we have an engine blown right behind him. That's Peter Cowan.
Sure. Oh, it is.
Bit of Cowan just blew his engine.
Yeah, blown his engine there into turn 1. Running down the start-finish line there. Big braking zone, possibly missed a shift. The entire gearbox just squirted out the tailpipe there, and off he goes. Nothing he can do about that in today's race. That'll drop him out of that 4-car fight now, leaving just Matt Cox, Anthony Catt, and Darrell Taylor. And big advantage here goes Anthony Catt. Finally had the positioning he needed. We missed it whilst looking at Cowan. Took the inside there on turn number 5, showing the replay of what just happened and how he got that position. Put himself in the right place to have the inside for the next sequence, Linus, and he did it just right this time by. And now he's actually starting to pull that gap a little bit wider. Runs quite wide there off the final corner. Maintains good speed here. Just needs to run defensive here for another couple of laps. He can hold off Matt Cox, and this sees him inside the top 10. Up 11 places so far tonight, Anthony Catt. Holding off quite a bit better there. Bill Fraser and Fahim Antonides, though, look at this. 2 wide into 5 towards the end of the lap, and Bill Fraser nearly nudging Antonides there. Antonides having to race very defensively here to try and maintain his lead. He only has, once he crossed the lap, once he crossed the line. English, I do speak it, I promise. Once he crossed the line, he has 2 laps to go, rather than once he crosses the lap, he has 2 lines to go. That's a whole different problem.
Oh, what happened to Fraser?
Bill Fraser, engine problems, I think there, pulls off in the final corner. I don't see any of the telltale smoke from... Oh, it did. It blew. The engine blew there between the final 2 corners. Bill Fraser just pushing too hard. He was too close to the back of Antonides. Engine overheat and radiator blew out in the young Scotsman's car. 2-time champion, back-to-back championships. His race at Okayama will end on the side of the road. Not what he wanted to have happen. Home and dry for Antonides if he could finish this race, Linus. Having to defend there, sweating in the final moments of this race. The pressure has just been taken clean off Antonides.
It sure has, but right behind him now we got a battle for 3rd as Ben Daniels has got him past Clark Williams. And this is for the last podium spot, coming to about 1 lap to go, and they're battling real hard now as Daniels keeping the defensive line and Williams trying everything he can to get back up into 3rd.
He is trying, but he may well not have a choice. Last time he came through the final corner, he ran very wide, in fact, onto the gravel. That car just really suffering for downforce. Look at how much wider he goes there than Daniels. Losing time to try and stay on the racetrack. Problems for Clark Williams. Not what he would have wanted in this round, but he's doing his best regardless. Anthony Catt now gets promoted to 9th place there after the retirement of Bill Fraser. So Cox, if he holds place, will still finish in 10th. So he's not really lost anything. Big advantage for him. The rest of that group have really fallen away from the fight here. Rhys Saunders, another big mover today, 33rd to 16th place at the moment. He's moving his way through the field. Antonides has just less than a lap to go now. 3 more corners, and he will be winner of round number 1. He won last time out, of course, at Brands Hatch, and this will be his next win. Back-to-back victories. He ended the season on 1. He will start a new season on a victory. 1 more corner to go, and the driver from Thrustmaster Movano Racing will come out at the final corner, down the start-finish line here at Okayama, Japan, and across the line to be the first winner of the new season for Antonides. Stuart Adcock comes back in 2nd place, just narrowly missing out there. Ben Daniels in 3rd place, the podium result for him. Clark Williams holds on for the 4th place. Jack Hobbs there in the top 5 spot. Linus, fantastic start to the new season.
It sure was, but 2 blown engines at the end makes me think back about 2 years when we had about 5-6 blown engine every single race. So could that be the theme of the season, maybe?
It could be, but when you're racing hard on a short track with not much space to cool the engines, this is going to be one of those problems you tend to see. In fact, we've often seen this on the shorter, tighter tracks where the guys are very close together. Could just be a symptom of that. But you know what? We'll find out, of course, in the rest of this season. But first, our post-race results. Coming home with the win today for Antonides on the top step of the podium, with Adcock in 2nd and Daniels in 3rd. Williams and Hobbs join them in the top 5, of course. Dave Kirkman, Adrian Hendy, Sarah Savage, Anthony Catt and Matt Cox rounds out your top 10. Seymour Harding, Simon Askew with Rob Marshall, Richard Hoburn, Christopher Kelsey in 15th place, Rhys Saunders, Michael Jones, Neil Dawkins, Daniel J. Cook, and Keith Sharp rounds out your top 20. The rest of those positions up on the screen. Only 22 cars finished on the lead lap here, Linus. Okayama takes no prisoners.
Well, it's a pretty short lap, so there will be a lot of cars going a lap down, but that sure didn't mean that we got no battles going on. There was battles all the way through the field, and a bit of a shame there he blew an engine at the end, but still got a lot of great racing to watch, and I think this season's gonna be just slightly better than the last one was, and I keep saying that, but they also keep delivering, so every year just gets better and better.
They absolutely do. And well, we have got a chance now to talk to your race winner here tonight. Fahim, you finished last season on a victory. You start this season on a victory. You held off Bill Fraser for long enough for his engine to go pop from sitting behind your car so long. Is this what you wanted to deliver for Thrustmaster Movano?
Yeah, sorry. Give me 2 seconds, Rachel. I'm sorry about this. I'll be right with you.
Well, we were going to interview your race winner, but he apparently has somewhere better to be for the moment, so instead, we will talk to each other for just a brief moment in timeliness.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm sorry?
I said hi, Rachel.
Oh, we have a Will Vincent. I just can't hear him over the glaring noise from the actual broadcast piping through his microphone.
Well,
but
I'm so
we have
sorry.
got a Will Vincent here. And Will Vincent, the man, the myth, the legend, Monday Night Skippys, one of the iRacing original tracks here at Okayama, and a fantastic race. This is what we look for.
I think this is the anniversary week as well. Actually it's not. It's in a month's time, because remember they changed the schedules a couple of years ago, Rachel. Actually, we are getting close to, I think, 4 years of Monday Night Skippy here on RaceSpotTV.
It's more likely to be 5, I think.
4 or 5 years, yeah. I mean, that's how long we've been doing this. And I remember when we had BSR doing it beforehand, they ran out of time or energy to do so. No offense to the BSR guys, I know I had a lot going on at that point. We were like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And 5 years later, here we are.
We certainly are, and you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world. Well, this series is probably one of the stalwarts of sim racing in the UK. It's, like I mentioned previously, it's a club motorsport series in spirit, at least. It's the Le Mans, the World Endurance Championship, of course, in their hearts. Yeah. But to these guys, this is their sport, this is their passion, this is their Sunday rugby game, this is the kickabout in the park. This is sport for the sake of sport and competition. There's no big prizes on the line, there's no big glory. These guys just enjoy racing, and they put on a fantastic show every week.
2 things I want to say. Number one, I'm really happy about the fact we had 40 drivers running this race, even though there's people kicking a ball around in a random place in Russia. But also, we've seen so many different changes to this car over the years in different styles of racing. We've seen engine blowouts and the management of the car. We've seen the 4-wide racing at Sonoma. We've seen the tactical racing that's gone on over the last couple of years. We've seen it all. And the thing is, these drivers, as they've had to adapt, they become better drivers as a consequence of it, Rachel. And we talk about things like the World Cup of football, soccer, call it what you will. Talk about the World Cup of iRacing. This series has made this club better in the World Cup of iRacing.
It absolutely has. When it comes to the road racing, this has bred some of the best road drivers, of course. You see some of the pros from the UK&I have come through this series, and they cut their teeth at the Skippy.
Yep.
This is one of those cars that everybody drives, and very few master. Most people drive it and move on. These guys have perfected the art, and it is a true art form. Have finally got Fahim Antoniadis with us tonight to join us, the race winner here today. I mentioned it before, Fahim, but you won last time out, of course, to end the season. You won this time to start a new season. Is this what you're trying to deliver for Thrustmaster?
Yes, that's the intention. I want to try and win as many races as possible, but really, that's not going to be realistic. The aim is to get as many top 5s as possible to run a consistent championship.
And so far, consistency is exactly what you're delivering. A tough race, of course. Bill really kept you honest throughout this one. Good jump at the start, actually, to take advantage there.
Yeah, I was at the start of practice and during the open qualifying. I had the pace for pole, but when I saw that it was open qualifying, I thought, oh God, it's going to be anybody's pole now, because it is a bit of a lottery. And unfortunately, Bill pipped me just by a second, and then from just a millisecond or so. But from there on, I thought this is probably not going to work out, because I've never seen it so hot and slippery. And you know what Okayama does to Skippy engines. So whoever was going to start at the front was pretty much going to walk away with a win, because it's not easy to pass on this tight and twisty circuits. If you can just hold off and keep the guy behind you, he's got 2 choices. Either he can keep attacking and try and keep close behind you, in which case he'll blow his engine, which is what happened to Bill, or we can back off and consolidate the position and get a second or a position before. So I'm surprised that he blew his start. Maybe it was just bad timing. It was a quick green, but it was he was very unlucky, and I benefited. And I also want to apologize to him, because in a couple of his attacks I slid quite wide, and that's purely because it's so hot and slippery today that I didn't expect it to slide that much. So I hope he's not too upset about that.
We certainly hope not. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to at all?
Yes, my team, Thrustmaster Movano, for helping me in the 12 hours of Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago. I really enjoyed that race and I learned a lot from it. And of course, I want to give a shout out to you guys for supporting this series.
Well, thank you very much, Fahim, and thank you very much for putting on great entertainment for us every single week. Congratulations yet again on the win, and hopefully a great season ahead.
Cheers. Take care.
Up next, of course, we've got a chance to chat to Michael Jones real quick. Michael, you came home today in 17th, started in 27th. Big climb for you today.
Yeah, I just managed to keep out some accidents tonight. Struggling with the car as well, which didn't help. I was about half a second to a second off my normal pace.
Well, either way, you've definitely got a good result here today. Put yourself in the top 20, which is a good start to the season.
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat that again for me, Rachel? Sorry.
I was just saying, it's a great start to the season. You managed to move yourself up to the top 20. You're up 10 places from where you qualified. It's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, just going to keep learning the car, I think, this season and see how we go.
Well, there you go. Good luck and congratulations for you tonight.
Thank you.
And finally, we have a chance to chat to the one, the only Paul Thurston. Not your race tonight, Paul. You started in 19th, you finished in 23rd, one lap down. Okayama is a tough track to tame.
Yeah, well, I don't mind Okayama, but I can't really complain about anything. I've had one or two things on this week. I've been busy, so I didn't get any practice in. I had one session last night, which was all right. Okayama, obviously, I'm used to, except that it's the short circuit, so it takes a little bit of acclimatisation. Yeah, I was watching the football, so I only got the last 7 minutes of qualifying, which was my plan, so everything worked out fine.
What football?
So now we know why you suffered, because you went to watch football rather than putting your effort and time into Monday Night Skippys.
Look, the football season doesn't start until September.
No, World Cup. Once every World Cup is the World Cup. No, I always watch the World Cup. I'm watching every single game. I love the World Cup. It's absolutely brilliant. Watching games like Spain, Portugal, and I mean, what is it tomorrow? It's Colombia, Japan. I will love watching these games because it's just most of the time you're not worried about who wins, so you just enjoy some great football. It's brilliant. But
I will take your word for it.
But it's England tonight. I would have missed it if it wasn't England. But I had to watch the England game. No spoilers, obviously. People might be watching this.
England won 2-1. Get over it.
Well, I am not going to spoil it for people.
Harry Kane scored twice.
Well, of course he did. God dear, he played for
Anyway, we should move on from this silly game involving balls and goals and the Soviet, Russia.
But yeah, Simon was having a moan at me afterwards. Apparently, I cut right across him at the start, which I didn't realise. I didn't get a call. I thought I was clear, so I moved across on him and basically pushed him into the wall. And coming into turn one, he didn't have. He basically, because I'd squeezed him, he didn't have any space to brake, and he slapped into me back end. He did it again, second lap for good measure. I'm not sure what that one was about, but and then I hit Rob. Rob got past me because my car was damaged and I made a mistake, and I went the inside into turn one to get Rob back, but he squeezed me, and that was well bent. So
whilst you have issues with your phrasing and possible needing to. I'm having this uncontrollable urge to drop the word giggity in here somewhere with half the things you're saying tonight, and with Fahim talking about hot, slippery tracks. So, you know what? We're going to take this opportunity to wrap things up tonight, folks. Monday Night Skippys is back with a bang. Okayama, what a fantastic race. We will see you same time next week. Myself, Rachel Wyford, Linus Brostrom, and of course Will Vincent behind the cameras. We'll see you then, and apparently there'll still be football on, so who knows?
Giggity is not a word.
It is. Tonight's coverage of UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies is brought to you in partnership with the Campaign Against Living Miserably. It is called Calm, and it is a male mental health charity in the United Kingdom. There to support those who are suffering, so check out our description on the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Good night.